Alright guys, so last time we did a quick little menu. Now we're gonna tackle this first page. We're not gonna make it exact. We're gonna try and just power through the bulk of it and come back and style it in much more detail later, but we're definitely gonna do some styling, and then next video we'll do that. So we're gonna redo this first page. You can see I pulled up some images for a background. So the one I'm gonna use for my home page is right here. Also, if you want to get any good high resolution, pixel images, this one for instance, these are all free, copyright free images from the community at unsplash.com. Great resource for websites and web design to be able to have such nice images for almost anything. So here we go. So the way I did this originally was I created a page one class, and so I did page one. This is just, each one of these pages is just going to have a class. It's just the easiest way to do it. And then we'll say background dash, or background colon URL, and the semicolon to end the statement. And in here we are going to put, I don't remember if I did this yet. Boom. Alright, so it's not displaying because we're not using it anymore. So cool. Down below here, what do we want to do? We want to put in a div with the class equal to page one. And we want to close our div. So our background is not working. Why is it not working? So luckily in my case I've already kind of done this with a different image. I'm changing it up. So background spelled correctly, page one is spelled correctly. Let's see here. First page, background URL. Ooh, maybe it's because it's a short link. Could that be it? Let me try a different background. Oh, you know what? Probably because there's nothing in here. P/P. Hello. This happened to me earlier. Hello world. So let me try this background from a different site, from the same site, but it works. It's working over here. Okay, so somehow that image is not displaying. So let's go ahead and see why not. Okay, so this is the URL that we need right here. Cool. So I think it was just the short URL that might have been throwing it off. Okay, so that one's displaying. So the issue, we want to display for a certain height. So, like I said, we're not supposed to really want to do these sort of height things, but for the background dash size, we're just going to use cover here. So we're going to say background dash size cover, and then we'll take a look and see where we're at. So you can see right now it's not as distorted, but still really short. So why don't we give it a height of, let's see if this does. We'll do it. I think it's going to stay the same size because this is how big it is. So we have to hard code some pixels. So we'll say 800 pixels. Cool. So now when we look at our code here, you can see that it's got 800 pixels stuff, and it looks very nice. So I'm looking at the menu now, and I'm not liking it. It looked good before, but I think what we need to do is make it so that this black bar is no longer black, and we want to make it a little bit transparent. So let me look over at my code here, because I did this yesterday. There's the opposite C. Ugh, I hate saying things wrong on this channel, but all right. So nav pills. So we want to give it just opposite of 0.7. The only thing is that doesn't look good either. So we'll worry about that another time. like I said, we want to kind of breeze by here and do this. So the way I did it, if you remember correctly, now we have like a name here. I just did my name. You can use like maybe you have a, maybe I can do a coding tutorials 360 site, but I'm just gonna use my name for now. So we want to add a big H1 element, and so instead of this hello world, let's add a H1 and an H slash H1, and we're just gonna say, and also for the font dash family, we can kind of control X this out. Just say, look, man, everything in the body is going to be in here unless stated otherwise. So what happened here? Alright, so it looks like this is getting off a little bit. There's probably a million ways we could handle this better than what I'm going to do right now, but this is how I'm still not the best at CSS. So we're going to do minus 10. Let's see if this will work. Minus 10%. And there you go. So, ooh, that actually looks not too bad once we do it like that. We got rid of the black background and we overdid it with that. I can get down with that. That looks nice. All right, that's boogie. I'm game. So I might change the color of it a little bit later. So cool. So what do we want to do for our Dylan C. Israel? So where is it? Oh, minus 10% might have been too much. So we're just actually, let's try this. So we'll say, let's do it. What we want to do is target the H1 and say that we don't need any padding. So H1 padding 0. Origin dash top 0px. Alright, there we go. So we still have our black thing. So I think Bootstrap automatically sets it H1 to give you some padding. We don't want that. So that's why we set it like that. What next? So here's our heading, but we want it kind of in the center here. So how do we do that? And also, let's put this font family back into, now that we know what was breaking our thing, back into body, because we want everything font family body, and we want to say on default we want everything. We want to do color on default is white. So there we go. So let me look back at my notes here, but I think what I did was I created a little bit. Here, let's pull it up right here. So in this one, I created just a little bit of box with some CS and made it a little bit see-through, and then we're gonna put our links below. And I didn't really put a line, but if they make me down the road wanting to submit this, I will. So let's go back to it. So we have Dylan C. Israel, and I guess before we do anything, we might as well just create our buttons real quick. So like Bootstrap also has a class for buttons, so it's still going to be in the same page one. So we're going to set up a div here, or excuse me, a div class equal to button list. So this is how they, this is one way to do it if you're using Bootstrap. Close the div, and then how many buttons do we want? So we want a the way they do it is they're not actually buttons. They are a tags. So you have a class is equal to but btn and btn default dash default. So they're going to look like buttons, but technically they're not buttons. They are URLs that have been styled. So that's what's going on here. That's why it's kind of a weird thing. So href equal to and then we have, so I think the first one was Twitter. Slash a. You can see right here, there's Twitter. It's going to take us somewhere. Now let's go ahead and copy this a few more times. So we have, and you know what? We're not going to be messing with JavaScript too much, so let's give ourselves a little bit more room here. Alright, so we're just going to copy and paste about 3 or 4 times and then change the value here. And then we're going to style it to the way we want. So first one was Twitter. Next one is GitHub. Next one is LinkedIn. And next one for me is YouTube. YouTube/coding tutorials 360. That might look a little big, but hey. And then finally, what was the last one? We do a Facebook. I use Facebook. And we could do a, that's good. I was going to say Google Plus, but I don't really use it unless it's for YouTube, and it's all the same. Okay, so cool. We created our buttons. Here it is. All right, that looks really bad. Let's take out the YouTube. Take out YouTube. Cool. So for me, I wanted these to have a black background because I was going to, for the buttons, I wanted it to be very visible. So let's go ahead and change here. Say 150% is pretty good. So I want to change this to a black background. So I'm just going to target the same thing. So I'm going to say for any btn default. So we'll say dot btn dash default. And we want to say background dash color. And we just want to set it to black. Cool. It's up to you whether or not you want to keep the border color. I do not, so I'll say border. We can do border, I think it's border dash color, black. Or you could also, probably the better way to do it is none. Oh no, that doesn't work. Alright, then just black. Alright, I also want to change it to this blue, so all the buttons were going to be blue. Anything you can click, I want it to be blue like that. Let me see what to get that color, it's need this. So we also want to say on that default, and then we want to say, do we already have an A tag anywhere? I don't believe we do, but any link by default on our page, I wanted it to look blue, so that's what we can do here, is we're going to add the A tag and say color blue. Not what I wanted to do. So maybe we have to do it in the btn default. So let's try this. Color. Alright, and there it goes. These are a little bit too small for my liking, so we will do size 1.7M. We'll see how that looks. I think that might be too big. Font dash size, that's what it was. So we'll do font dash size. That's not too bad. Okay, cool. So we've kind of got this together. This is a little bit too small for what I want. So let's make it a little bigger. So H1 we will say font dash size to about 2.0 M. I want this to be pretty big. Oh, it's already, maybe it's just not big enough for my taste. 5M? 10M? Power. M levels over 9,000? Alright. Let's do 7.0 M. I want it to be a little... Nah, 5M's enough. Okay, cool. So, below this, I wanted a saying. So let's go back over here. And under here, I wanted to put an H2. Or we can just... an H2 slash H2. And this, I just wanted to put something that sounded slick. Always learning. Always evolving. So this is what I put. I'm gonna make this H3. I want this to be slightly smaller. There we go. Cool. So probably a good point to save here. So last thing I want to do is put a box around this. So how do we do this? We are going to put a div. That's pretty much it. Put a div, and we are going to give it a class. I give it the class. What did I give it? What did I name my original div? Row, second page, main heading, Twitter. I just called it block. So block. So div class is equal to block. And now we have to go over here and define block. So dot block. So first thing we want to do is we want to say background dash color is black. So you can see right here it takes all of it, but we don't want the whole thing. So next thing we want to do is make it a little bit see-through. .7. That's what I meant. So it's a little bit see-through. Nice. That's kind of what we want. We probably want to give it some padding. Also, we want to center it. So Bootstrap comes with a class over here for block, a class called text-center. So this will now center the text to where it needs to be. So that's kind of cool. So we'll actually give this to our BTN list. So we'll say text-center as well. And now that should center all our stuff. Okay, cool, but not exactly what we want still. What else do we want? We want we want the corners to be curled, but we don't want it to go across the entire page. How do we go about that? Alright guys, so our page is slowly coming together. What we want to do next, at least in my case, is I want to break up this background a little bit. I want to cut off the edges. So how do we do that? So there's a couple different ways. Again, there's probably better ways of doing this. So the first thing I want to do is I want to give it a little bit of padding. So you can see right here there's not much padding on it. So let's go ahead, and that was our block class. So we're going to give it some padding around all edges of about 25 px. So now when we look at it, that's a lot. Let's try 15. 15 is a lot too. So let's do 10. So now that looks good. So what else do we want to do? We can limit the width of it. We can say, or actually, what we should do is look up the display properties. Is it div, display, HTML? Is that it? So let's see here. Display inline. Displays block. Okay, let's see if we can do that. So we'll say display block. Nope, that didn't work. Inline. Ooh. So that got rid of our thing there. I wonder why. Display, flex, inline block, displays and elements. What I'm trying to do is get it so that it fits in here. Okay, so we'll do it the bad way. I was hoping to show a better way, but for me, I just set the width to 1%. So we say width to 50%. But now, for some reason, that has shifted it. So what we want to do here is we want to set in block margin dash right to auto. And we want to set margin dash left to auto. And that will recenter it right there. Cool. So we have it. It's a little bit bigger than we would want. But the corners aren't curved, and I want it a little bit less see-through, so let's bring that up to 0.8. Even maybe 0.9. No, 0.9 is too much. Alright, so how do we curve the corners? Alright, so this is what border dash radius is for, and we're going to put maybe 5 pixels. You can see it curved right there. Let's see, if you want to see it way curved in, we can do like, you can do it in percent too, like 25%. You can see right there the curve. So in our case, we just need like maybe 2% or 5%. No, that's way too much. 5 pixels is perfect. Or 10 pixels is even more perfect. Okay, cool. So we have the curved corners that we like and everything, and we are going to. It's a lot of padding. Next we need to center it in this page. So how do we do that? And that's kind of the end to the first page. So we can do that like this. Margin dash top auto. Margin dash bottom auto. And that didn't work. Sad face. So why didn't that work? When we go to div class page 1. Now let me look back at what I had here. Oh, I think I just shot it down from the top a little bit. Okay, so I thought I did auto, I didn't. So what I did here was I actually just said, look man, send this negative 100 px. Oh. Why isn't that working? What am I doing around here? Oh, it did work. Alright, what we need to do. Plus 100. But that moves the block. Okay, so we're struggling here for a second. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That helps me out a ton. And I appreciate all the comments that I get and all the questions I get in the comments, and I'm happy to answer them. So keep them coming, and I'll see you in the next video.